Hello student, my name is Amrita Dubey, Senior Assistant Professor, School of Pharmacy, BBD University. The subject name is Physical Pharmaceutics Second, and today I am going to discuss the basic concept of non-Newtonian system. In the previous lecture we discussed mainly about the rheological system. Now we will discuss about the non-Newtonian system. So let's start. So these are the content which we will discuss in detail in today's class. So what are the content? Non-Newtonian system, and under the non-Newtonian system we have to discuss plastic, pseudoplastic, dilatant, thixotropy and anti-thixotropy. So today's lecture is mainly based upon the non-Newtonian system, the type of non-Newtonian system, the application, properties and different types and mechanism, and the concept related with the flow with the different mechanism under the non-Newtonian system. So what is the non-Newtonian system? So in this slide you can see the majority of fluid pharmaceutical products are not simple liquid and do not follow Newton's law of flow. These systems are referred to as non-Newtonian system or non-Newtonian fluid. So there are basically two types of fluid in the rheological system which are mainly used in the pharmaceutical field: Newtonian system and non-Newtonian system. Newtonian system are those liquid in which they follow Newton's law of concept or the principle of Newton's law. But there are many liquid used in the pharmaceutical field which does not follow Newton's law of motion or the Newton's law of principle. That fluid is known as non-Newtonian fluid. Non-Newtonian behavior is generally exhibited by liquid, solid heterogeneous dispersion like colloidal solution, emulsion, liquid suspension, ointment. So these are many liquid system. There are two type of liquid system which we mainly study or discuss in the pharmaceutical field. One liquid is homogeneous and another is heterogeneous system. Homogeneous system are those which mainly follow the Newtonian system or which mainly follow the Newton law of motion. But there are many examples of other liquid also which does not follow Newton's law of motion, and that system are mainly heterogeneous system. Heterogeneous system means what? The system which consists of mainly two systems that is not totally solubilized in each other. They form two phases, and when two phases are present, that system will called biphasic or heterogeneous system. And here solute molecule is not solubilized. In spite of that, it is finally distributed all over the solvent. So the example of heterogeneous system is suspension, emulsion, colloidal dispersion, ointment, cream. So these are the heterogeneous system and they do not follow the Newton's law. That's why they are mainly called non-Newtonian system or non-Newtonian fluid. When non-Newtonian material are analyzed in a rotational viscometer and results are plotted, various consistency curve representing three classes of flow: plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow and dilated flow. So under the non-Newtonian system there are various curves obtained, and depending on that curve we classify non-Newtonian fluid into three types, that is plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow and dilatant flow. So this is mainly about the non-Newtonian system or non-Newtonian fluid, which is mainly heterogeneous kind of fluid mainly used in the pharmaceutical field and which does not follow Newton's law of motion. That's why this system is called non-Newtonian system. Now in this slide you can see here fluid are divided into the Newtonian fluid and non-Newtonian fluid. Newtonian fluid is mainly time dependent and time independent. Time dependent is classified into two types, thixotropic, rheopectic. Time independent fluid are classified into pseudoplastic, viscoelastic and dilatant. So you can see in this picture that time dependent fluid, we will discuss what is the time dependent and what are the types, we will discuss in detail in the next slide. So time dependent is mainly thixotropic and rheopectic, while time independent fluid system are mainly pseudoplastic, viscoelastic and dilatant. Now non-Newtonian system are those bodies or system, those substances that fail to follow the Newton's equation of flow, liquid and solid heterogeneous dispersion such as colloidal solution, emulsion, liquid suspension, ointment and similar product comprises class. Non-Newtonian system is time independent and time dependent. So non-Newtonian system is mainly two types, time independent and time dependent, and they do not follow the Newton's equation of flow. So non-Newtonian system is defined as one for which the relationship between F and S is not constant, or you can also show that, you can also explain or say that Newtonian or the non-Newtonian fluid are those fluid in which the relationship between the F and S is not constant. In other words, when the shear rate is derived, when the shear rate is varied, the shear stress does not vary in the same proportion. The viscosity of such fluid will therefore change as the shear rate is varied. It can be seen in liquid and solid heterogeneous dispersion such as colloid, emulsion, suspension and ointment. So in this slide you have a very good or very better idea, that is, it can be seen in liquid and solid, which I have already discussed. These are the mainly property of heterogeneous system. When shear rate is varied, in the same way shear stress is not varied, means the proportion of increasing or decreasing of shear rate and shear stress is not linear. That system is known as non-Newtonian system. Now in this slide you can see the different flow properties of different substances. So here you can see that the substances or material has been classified into three classes: viscous, viscoelastic or elastic. So what are the example of viscous? Like oil and various you can say milk. These are the example of glycerin, viscous. Viscoelastic like paste and other product, and elastic means like rubber and all. So ideally viscous liquid include oil, solvents that follow the Newton's law. Viscoelastic like milk, shampoo, paint. Viscoelastic solid like paste, gel, film. Ideally elastic means solid like wood, which follow the Hooke's law. So flow behavior describe the sample with flow. Deformation behavior describe sample which deform. So in the viscous fluid or in the fluid which follow the Newton's law of flow, their behavior describe sample with flow because they are viscous, and in case of viscoelastic and elastic, the sample deformation properties are mainly determined. Now classification. So classification of non-Newtonian system. First one is the time independent and second one is the time dependent. What is time independent? Like plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow, dilatant flow. And time dependent is mainly thixotropy, antithixotropy, rheopexy and antirrheopexy. So we will discuss the plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow, dilatant flow. In the same way, we will also discuss all these different terms which comes under time dependent factor. So what is the plastic flow? Material exhibiting plastic flow are known as Bingham bodies because the rheology or this term is mainly coined by the scientist Bingham. So plastic flow is also known as Bingham bodies. The plastic flow curve does not pass through the origin and it intersects the shearing stress axis, or if will a straight part of the curve is extrapolated to the axis at a particular point referred to as yield value. Means in the plastic flow, curve does not pass through the origin and intersect somewhere on the axis of shear stress, and when we extrapolate the point where it match on the shear stress curve, that curve is known as yield value. A Bingham body does not begin to flow until a shear stress. So a Bingham body or a plastic fluid cannot flow when the Bingham bodies or any force is applied until a shearing stress corresponding to the yield value is exceeded. Means shear stress is applied, force is applied, but that force or shear stress will exceed to the yield value, only then plastic can flow. And if we will not exceed the flow, or if we not exceed the stress value beyond the yield value, then we cannot be able to flow the liquid. So yield value in case of dilatant flow is plastic flow is very important, and if the value of the extrapolation will be less than the yield value, then plastic flow or any kind of flow is not desirable in that fluid. In this picture you can also see the graph between the shear rate of shear and shearing stress. So here you can see that graph is not originated from the 0 point, it is originated somewhere from the x-axis, and when extrapolated means that dot line when it is corresponded, then it meted on the shearing stress curve, and the value is recorded as the shear stress of that plastic flow fluid. So again, plastic flow or the Bingham body. Plastic flow is curve that does not pass the origin but rather intersect the shearing stress axis at a particular point is called as yield value. A Bingham body does not begin to flow until a shearing stress corresponding to the yield value is exceeded. So a Bingham body or a plastic flow does not begin to flow until a shearing stress corresponding to the yield value is exceeded. Means for fluid to flow, the dilatant liquid should be greater than the yield value. If the yield value will not be achieved by the fluid, then there will not be any flow found in that liquid. So yield value is very important. Now pseudoplastic flow. So I have also shown the diagram or graph so that you have a very better idea about the pseudoplastic flow. So what is pseudo and plastic? Pseudo means जो नहीं कहता है, that is pseudoplastic flow. Polymer in solution, natural and synthetic gum, liquid dispersion of tragacanth, sodium alginate, methyl cellulose. So pseudoplastic flow is mainly seen in the polymer solution. The polymer can be natural, synthetic or semi-synthetic. For example, dispersion of tragacanth, sodium alginate, methyl cellulose, etc. The curve for pseudoplastic material begins at the origin, or at least approaches it at low rate of shear. The curved rheogram for pseudoplastic material is due to shearing action on the long chain molecule of material such as linear polymer. So that's why there is a curve kind of graph has been shown on the pseudoplastic flow diagram. In contrast to bending bodies, there is no yield value, no part of curve is linear or cannot express the viscosity of a pseudoplastic material by any single value. So, you can see here that shear stress and shear rate graph has been plotted. Understand? And the pseudoplastic material, due to action on long chain molecule, the curve is linear. One cannot express the viscosity of pseudoplastic material by any single value. So this is the graph of pseudoplastic flow and definition. Pseudoplastic flow is shown by polymer in solution in contrast with plastic flow, which is shown by flocculated particle suspension. So dilatant flow is mainly shown by heterogeneous system, which are mainly used in the pharmaceutical field like suspension, emulsion, colloidal dispersion, etc. But in pseudoplastic flow is mainly found in the solution of the polymer, means it is mainly shown by polymer in solution in contrast with plastic flow, which is shown by flocculated particle in suspension. So this is mainly pseudoplastic flow, which is shown by the solution of polymer. Now dilatant flow. So what is the dilatant flow? Certain suspension with a high percentage of dispersed solid exhibit an resistance to flow with increasing rate of shear. Such system actually increase in volume when sheared and are called dilatant. Dilatant material is known as shear thickening system. When the stress is removed, a dilatant system returns to its original state of fluidity. So dilatant flow are mainly seen in those systems which are having high percentage of solid molecule. When high percentage of dispersed solid or solid molecule are present, then it will cause resistance to flow. Such system actually increase in volume when sheared and are called dilatant. Dilatant material shear thickening system. It is because the percentage of solid particle or the solid content is much more higher. That's why there when pressure is applied, it become thickened. So this is also called as shear thickening system. When the stress is removed, a dilatant system returns to its original state of fluidity. But when stress is applied and when the stress is removed, then what happened? The dilatant system returned to its original state. So this is mainly the dilatant flow. You can also see the diagram, rate of shear upon shearing stress. So this is about the dilatant flow. Now dilatant flow, certain suspension with a high percentage of solid exhibit an resistance to flow with increasing rate of shear. Such system actually increase in volume when sheared and are hence termed as dilatant. Such system actually increase in volume when sheared. They become more in volume. That's why they are also called shear thickening system. So certain suspension with a higher percentage of solid exhibit and resistance to flow. with increasing rate of shear. Such system actually increase in volume when shear and are hence termed dilatant flow, or they are show dilatant flow. Now dilatant flow. Close packed particle, minimum void volume, sufficient vehicle, relatively low consistency. Increasing rate of shear, open packed dilated particle, increased void volume, insufficient vehicle, relatively high consistency. Here you can say that dilatant flow is also known as shear thickening system. That is, when particle is present in a very close packed manner, having very minimum void volume between the particle and sufficient vehicle with low consistency, but when shear means force, when force or shear is applied, then particles distributed or dilated, what will happen? Void volume will be increased and insufficient vehicle and relatively high consistency. So dilatant flow is also known as shear thickening system, because when shear is applied or because when force is applied, then that system becomes thickened. Now thixotropy. Thixotropy is a time dependent shear thinning property. Certain gel or fluid that are thick or viscous under static condition will flow over time when shaken, agitated, shear stress or otherwise stretched. They then take a fixed time to return to a more viscous state. So, what is thixotropy? Thixotropy is a time-dependent shear thinning property. Certain gel, fluid which are thick or viscous under static condition, they flow over time when shaken, agitated, stressed or otherwise stressed. They then take a fixed time to return to a more viscous state. It known as thixotropy. Thixotropy means when we apply the force, certain gel, fluid are thick or viscous under static condition, but when they are shaken, agitated, when shear stress or force is applied, then their consistency become thin and they easily pour from the container. So this property is known as thixotropy. The property of becoming less viscous when subjected to applied stress, shown for example by some gel which become temporarily fluid when shaken or stirred. So under the pressure or under the stress condition, the property of viscous liquid changes from highly viscous to the lower viscous or to become less viscous so that it can easily spread out. That property is known as thixotropy. So thixotropy, time dependent. It is an isothermal, comparatively slow recovery on standing of a material of consistency lost through shearing. So it is an isothermal, slow recovery on standing of a material. Thixotropy can be applied only to shear thinning system. It may have been assumed that if the rate of shear were reduced once the desired maximum had been reached, the down curve would be identical and upper impossible on the up curve. So thixotropy can be applied only to the shear thinning system. It may have been assumed that if the rate of shear were reduced to the desired maximum had been reached, the down curve would be identical and superimposable on the up curve. So this is mainly thixotropy, which is time dependent. In this slide you can see it is an isothermal, comparatively slow recovery on standing of a material of a consistency lost through shearing. Assume that rate of shearing was reduced in Newtonian flow the down curve would be identical with superimposable up curve, but in non-Newtonian flow, down curve will displaces relatively the up curve. So this is mainly positive thixotropy and the graph has been shown. The factors affecting thixotropic property. The phenomena of thixotropy is influenced by several factors. So what are the thixotropy? Thixotropy material or those material which under stress condition or when pressure or force is applied, then they become flow or their consistency become down. So what are the factors which affect the thixotropic property? So that factor is mainly pH, temperature, polymer concentration, polymer modification or combination, addition of cation or anion and excipient such as lecithin, sodium chloride and glycerol. So these are the factors which can affect the thixotropic property of a non-Newtonian system. Now, application of thixotropy. What are the application of thixotropy? Because we have already discussed the principle and concept of the non-Newtonian system and thixotropy. What are the concept, what are the formula which we have already discussed. So there should be a proper application in a pharmaceutical field. As described in the previous section, several types of behavior are observed when rate of shear is progressively increased and plotted against shear stress. It may have been assumed that if the rate of shear were reduced once the desired maximum had been reached, the down curve would be identical with and superimposable on the up curve, although this is true for Newtonian system. The down curve for non-Newtonian system can be displaced relative to the up curve with shear thinning system, or the down curve is frequently displaced to the left of the curve. So, application of thixotropy is mainly thixotropy fluid or the thixotropic material or those material when force is applied or when stress is applied, then they started to flow or their consistency or viscosity become low. So this is a very important when making a cream, ointment or lotion, because in the standing position or when we do not use lotion or cream or there are many kind of dispersible liquid present. So if the consistency will be higher, then that will be good in the handling process, and when shearing or shaking is applied, they can become very easily pseudoplastic flow, or they can very easily show the property of pseudoplastic. So the importance or the application in the pharmaceutical field or in the food field is very, very important. The greater the thixotropy is, the lower the rate of settling. When thixotropy will be higher, then the rate of settling of the particle in the container will be low. Concentrated parenteral suspension containing 40% to 70% weight by volume of procaine penicillin G in water were found to have high inherent thixotropy and was shear thinning. Consequently, breakdown of the structure occurred when the suspension was caused to pass through the hypodermic needles. Consistency was then recovered of a depot of drug at the site of IM injection, where drug was slowly removed and made available to the body. The degree of thixotropy was related to specific surface of the penicillin used. So mainly consistency was recovered as urological structure reformed. When we apply the formulation on our skin or on our any affected area of the body, and when we put that container in a very few time, the consistency or the viscosity of that material will be gained. So this is the application of the thixotropy. In this graph you can see there is the relationship between the shear rate and shear stress. Slow measurement, normal measurement and fast measurement means there is a when shear rate and shear stress will be increasing and particle or the system will take very long time to return to its original consistency or original viscosity, then that is known as slow measurement. Normal measurement where less time is required means after shaking less time is required as compared to the first one. This is known as normal measurement and this is known as fast measurement. What is thixotropy and anti-thixotropy? So we have already discussed the thixotropy. What is anti-thixotropy? Thixotropy is defined as an isothermal and comparatively slow recovery process on standing of a material of a consistency lost through shearing. This is applied for plastic, pseudoplastic system, or this is also called as gel to sol and to gel transformation. So thixotropy is a very good example. Gel, sol and gel. Gel means the material which is having very high concentration or the material which is very viscous, but when we apply pressure or force, it concentration or the viscosity of the gel system decreased and it spread as a sol. So this is known as sol. After that, when force or shear stress is not applied, then what happened? Gel always convert into the gel transformation. Now anti-thixotropy, this is also called as negative thixotropy. This represents an increase in consistency on the down curve. The down curve shift to the right of the up curve. This is also called as salt to gel to salt transformation. Means this is also called as negative thixotropy. This represents an increase in consistency on the down curve. The down curve shift to the right of the up curve means when force is not applied. When the force is not applied, then the consistency which return again to the gel consistency is not proper. So this is just opposite of thixotropy and this is also called as anti-thixotropy. So from time to time in the measurement of supposedly thixotropic material, one observes a phenomena called negative or anti-thixotropy. This increase in thickness or resistance to flow with increased time of shear was observed in rheological analysis of magnesia magma. So everybody know what is the magnesia magma and how its thixotropic behavior is just opposite. So this is also known as anti-thixotropy. Now difference between thixotropy and anti-thixotropy. So this is the shear rate and shear stress, thixotropic fluid, anti-thixotropic fluid. Now pharmaceutical application of thixotropy. The time dependent change in viscous nature of thixotropic finds its major application in pharmaceutical formulations including hydrogel, ointment, suspension, emulsion through various routes including oral, topical, ophthalmic and mucosal administration. So time dependent change in viscous nature of thixotropy find its major application in the system like hydrogel, ointment, suspension, emulsion and various route including oral, topical, ophthalmic, and mucosal administration. So, in case of hydrogel, thixotropy is very important ointment. We can see that having a very consistent, very viscous system, but when we apply shear stress or force, it very easily spread over the skin. Suspension, you can see when in the stable condition, suspension looks very viscous, but when we agitate or shake the container, the particle becomes distributed equally, evenly, and it becomes thinner. So these all are the example of thixotropy, and thixotropy mainly used in all route of administration like oral, topical, ophthalmic, mucosal administration. So we discussed today about the non-Newtonian system, which are plastic flow, pseudoplastic flow, dilatant system. What is the plastic flow? What is the pseudoplastic dilatant system? Then we also discuss about the thixotropy, antithixotropy, factors affecting all, and at the last we mainly discuss about the pharmaceutical application of thixotropy. So now all the terms and concept principle related with the non-Newtonian system has been understood by all the students. Thank you.